Buenos dias. Today we are going to talk about different tenses. We have been working all year on different forms of the verb, and what we're going to be doing now is comparing those and talking about how you would use what you need in the situation where you need it. So let's first talk about each tense separately, and then we will do a little bit of comparison. The presente is used to describe what is happening or what happens on a regular basis. This is the very first way that you learned to talk about actions in Spanish. You have been using it basically since the very first day that you started speaking Spanish. Ejemplos. Voy, me divierto, corre, salimos, bailan. These examples have different people doing the action. Voy and me divierto are yo, I am doing the action. Corre is talking about one other person. Salimos is we, and bailan is more than one other person. But all of them describe what is happening or what happens on a regular basis. I would use this form of the verb to talk about what is going on now. The futuro simple is used to describe what will happen. Ejemplos. Iré, me divertiré, correrá, saldremos, bailarán. The big thing to remember is that in Spanish, what will happen is only one word. You're going to take the action and you are going to put it in the futuro simple. In English, we use a helping verb. We put will in front of our action, and that tells us that it's going to be the future. But in Spanish, you want to be sure that you are just taking the action and then putting the future ending on it. You do not need a separate word. The ejemplos here, again, are talking about different people. Iré and me divertiré are yo. Correrá is one other person. Saldremos is we. And bailarán is more than one other person. Also notice that usually in the futuro simple, you see the entire infinitive, the whole verb, before you add your ending. All right, so we have iré, me divertiré, correrá. Saldremos is an exception. Amos is the ending here. The verb here is salir, which is irregular in the future. You start with saldrá. And bailarán, there we have bailar, and then our ending on. The preterito is used to describe what happened. This I like to call the event tense. It is the tense that you use to describe the major occurrences in the past. Por ejemplo, fui, me divertí, corrió, salimos, bailaron. Fui, me divertí, again, are the yo form. Corrió, one other person. Salimos, we. Bailaron, more than one other person. And again, this is the form of the verb that describes events, things that happened. I went, I had fun, he or she ran, we went out, they danced. The imperfecto we have not talked about a lot in class, although we have seen it. It is used to describe in the past repeated or habitual events, things that used to happen, or events in progress, things that were happening. Por ejemplo, iba, me divertía, corría, salíamos, bailaban. This is the tense that I told you is the aba or the ia tense. So if you see aba or ia, That is going to be the imperfecto. Things being described in the past that used to happen or that were happening at the time. Iba is go. So this is went, right? Either I used to go or I was going. Me divertia is the yo form for sure. Iba and corría could be the yo form. They could also be, they could be the yo form. They also could be the he, she form. And that's just the way the imperfecto works, is that the yo and the ella, they share a form. Salíamos is we and bailaban is they. So iba, I was going, he or she was going. I used to go, he or she used to go. Me divertia, I was having fun, or I used to have fun. Corría, I was having fun, or he or she was having fun. I used to have fun, he or she used to have fun. Salíamos, we were going out, or we used to go out. Bailaban, they were dancing, or they used to dance. So the thing to remember is that there are two ways that you can talk about the past in Espanol at this point. There actually are more. But for now, you have the preterito, which is talking about events that happened. And then you are doing the imperfecto, which talks about description, right? Things that used to happen or were happening. So let's take a look at these preguntas. And we have worked with similar questions. We've definitely worked with ¿qué haces? What do you do? That's in the presente. We've also worked with ¿qué hiciste? What did you do? That's in the pretérito. We have also worked with ¿qué harás? What will you do? And ¿qué vas a hacer? What are you going to do? Now remember that ¿qué vas a hacer? Is a way to indicate the future without actually being a tense. So you can answer this voy a or vamos a, followed by your action, or you can answer it with the futuro simple. Either way is fine. The one we have not talked about a whole lot is ¿qué hacías? ¿Qué hacías? What were you doing? Or what did you used to do? All right. So it's a slightly different, still in the past, but a slightly different question. Then we look at ¿a dónde vas? We have talked about ¿a dónde vas? Where are you going right now? We've done ¿a dónde fuiste? Where did you go? We've done ¿a dónde irás? Where will you go? We've also done ¿a dónde vas a ir? Where are you going to go? ¿A dónde ibas? Again, that's the imperfecto form. Where were you going? Or where did you used to go? Then we have our what's happening, okay? We've talked about ¿qué pasa, what's happening in general. Remember that when you use ¿qué pasa, you can answer talking about anyone, right? Anything that is going on at the time. We've done ¿qué pasó? What happened? We've done ¿qué pasará? What will happen? And ¿qué va a pasar? What's going to happen? ¿Qué pasaba? What was happening, or what used to happen. Usually what was happening. All right. So when you hear ¿qué pasaba, it's asking about the situation at the time in the past. Then we have ¿cómo es and cómo era? Now we have to look at the use of como here. Como is talking about how. We know that it means how in English, but when you use it with the verb to be, like we're using it in these questions, ¿cómo es? What is it like? We're asking for a description, okay? So these questions are asking, what is it like? Asking for a description. So ¿cómo es? what is it like? Como era, what was it like? And era is that continuing past tense. That's the imperfecto form. You could also say como fue. That's the preterito form. What was it like? If you ask como fue, you're asking not only for a description, but also what happened. Whereas if you ask como era, it is more a descriptive question. So the difference here is that como era is going to be more description, and como fue is going to be more description, more events, okay? More like an event. Como será, what will happen? And again, that's predictions, and we've talked about how to do predictions. So hopefully this information helps you by showing you all in one place the comparison, what things would look like if they were present, past, future, and you have some